Welcome to Audible Sportscast, your home for all things sports. Welcome back to another episode. We have Brett and Jeff here. How is it going, Brett?
Good. You?
Oh, I'm doing great. I mean, we're at pretty much the final four of the NFL in terms of it's the final four teams in the NFL. We have the AFC and NFC championships after I would call a good week of games with the divisional round. Some people might not say they were that competitive, but I enjoyed every single one of the games in different ways. You know,
you just enjoyed seeing Dallas lose.
I mean, who doesn't? and if you don't, fans. Yeah, but I mean,
see, and that's the
are
thing
you really human?
I never root for Dallas, and that thing is, I kind of want them to lose, but I like some of their players.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel bad for the players, but not for, I don't like Mike McCarthy. I haven't since he was in the Packers. I don't. Jerry Jones, I think he's starting to lose it. So, I'm not a Dak fan, but I'm here. I like Pollard. I think Lamb is good. I like there's certain pieces I like, but.
Oh, yeah. I mean, CD Lamb, Micah Parsons, Tony Pollard. I think those three guys right there. Tony Pollard, who did get hurt against Dallas, was definitely someone who he doesn't get hurt. Yeah. Who knows how he'll be. With having so late in the season.
I've been hearing rumors about Zeke now, so.
Yeah, he says he's willing to take a pay cut. Tony Pollard needs to resign, so hopefully they don't, give him a horrible contract offer because he broke his leg. You know how, they can be sometimes when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because, it is a business, and you got to do what's best for the business. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I could see him, if he doesn't get re-signed, ending up on a team like Miami.
I mean, he does fit the mold of what
Miami's been signing for the last 5 years.
Not even 5 years, but when you look at Mike McDaniel coming out of the 49ers system with Kyle Shanahan, that's, the prototype Shanahan-type running back that Miami tried having this year. When you look at Mostert, when you look at everybody.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
It is interesting, but let's get to what the people came to hear about. We have the Final Four, as I previously stated, and they're the Final Four teams. This is the last weekend where we will see multiple games on one day. Both of these games, next upcoming conference games, are on Sunday, and it's the last time. Unless you count, Pro Bowl activities as multiple games, but I really don't. They're gonna have a flag football.
No.
That'll be interesting to see flag football. I know the Manning brothers are kind of gonna be coach/host for
until
everything.
Someone blows out their knee.
Yeah, definitely gonna hope that doesn't happen, because if that does, and it more than likely will, because you're asking, physical, competitive NFL players to not do something that they do train to do. It's the Pro Bowl. It's always taken lightly, so hopefully they'll get through their mind to literally turn it more into two-hand touch than flag football, which even then, if anyone's played in the park, knows two-hand touch can get pretty competitive at times. But last week, Brett, you did pretty good on predicting these games. Did you know that?
I did.
You got a clean sweep. You picked every single team, 49ers, Eagles, Chiefs, and Bengals to win. Cody,
I don't think it was very hard, but
other than the Bengals, every single team was, the favored team. But Cody, who's not with us again, he went 3-1. The only one he did was Bills.
You went 2-2.
Yep, I went 2-2. So long story short, don't pick too many underdogs at one time. Although one of them was right. I just don't know what I was thinking.
Jacksonville.
I didn't pick Jacksonville. Chiefs was the only favorite team I picked.
No, I know. I'm just saying Jacksonville was one of those. They were the old. I could see why people would pick them, but
yeah,
not yet.
Not yet, and we'll see how they are next year with Calvin Ridley. Hopefully, he gets reinstated at least. Everyone's expecting him to be. Not really kind of thinking. They assume it's just a 1 year when he's actually suspended indefinitely, but I'm sure he'll be reinstated. But let's get into the meat and potatoes. Conference round. First game up, we have 49ers versus Eagles in Philly. Philly currently is favored by 2.5 points. I think this is going to be a very, very, very low-scoring game.
I say Niners by 6.
Niners by 6. You're just saying, okay, so are you just not built up on the Eagles, or?
No, I'm not built up on the Eagles.
So both of these teams, I would argue, have maybe the best defenses in the NFL, at least the best defenses of every one of it remaining. And when you look at the other side of the ball, now you got to think, okay, which offense do you trust more? Nice. I'm still, I love the weapons all around the 49ers, but the last 2 weeks, I'm still, I love Brock Purdy, but I'm still not up on him yet.
Hence why they didn't rule out Jimmy G yet.
That's probably just them putting Eagles on their toes. But
I think it's actually putting Brock Purdy on his toes.
I think so too, and that could either kill him or have him, show out. But
you do know that these two quarterbacks, if Brock Purdy starts, have played each other before in a high-scoring duel.
What, back in
college?
Yeah, the Big 12 days, Iowa State versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was a good game too. I happened to see a clip the other day about it. That's why.
So it's kind of like the Baker Mayfield Oklahoma versus Patrick Mahomes Texas Tech. Have you ever seen highlights of that game?
Yeah.
I think that's still the most passing yards, the most points ever in a
I actually saw that clip too, and I didn't realize. I didn't realize Mark Andrews was not that old.
Oh yeah, I mean, that Oklahoma team was really good.
I feel like he's been around for 12 seasons, but he hasn't been.
No, he was drafted. I mean, if you think about it, the Ravens in the first couple of rounds drafted Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews. Hayden Hurst won in the first round, and who's now playing against the Chiefs, who we'll talk about. He's on the Bengals now. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how, some of these players, looking back, they were only, in college a couple years ago. But I think I got to go Eagles here on just two situations. One, this game is being played in Philly, and when it comes to this point in the season, when it comes to close games, you got to go home field advantage. And two, like I said, I'm not 100% in on Brock Purdy yet. You can have all the weapons in the world, but this is a really good defense, and it has a lot of veterans, and this is now the time where you want that veteran leadership and everything else. And just, they've had great coaching this season, above and below, and I think now's the time.
You could say both teams have great coaching.
Oh, I'm
not gonna knock that.
Definitely, when you look at, the coaching in at least the NFC, I would say, other than Brian Daboll, who made a horrible situation into a pretty good situation. We'll see how that goes next season with the Giants, but I would probably call these two maybe the best two coaches in the NFC, Nick Sirianni and Kyle Shanahan. Unless I'm just forgetting somebody. I know Bruce Arians doesn't coach anymore. Sean McVay, I guess, is someone and all these guys pretty much come from almost the same coaching tree. I know Sirianni, it's a little different, but it's interesting to think.
Yeah, I was paying attention to a lot of the play calling, and I'd have to say, obviously we've seen Kyle Shanahan for a while, but Sirianni, or however you say his name, I liked his play calling this last game. I thought it was pretty smart.
It was very. I love how they are able to utilize what they have. I've always kind of maybe went back and forth on the utilization of Miles Sanders, but he had a really good game. I think he had 5-6 yards of carry.
There's a question. This is still on the topic. Same teams. Do you pay Miles Sanders or not?
That's tough. We'll talk about that probably in the coming weeks because I have a lot of things to say about.
That's all I'm gonna say. He had 1,200 some yards.
I think the best way to answer that is looking at NFL history on the last several years on paying running backs.
That's true. We can get into that more.
Definitely will, but I don't know if I would. I love him. I think he's a really good back, and I think he will be a key part on if this team wins, because we know how good this 49ers defense is. Will they be able to set a tone in the run game? This is going to be a battle of the trenches. You have two of the best offensive and defensive lines in the NFL playing each other.
I think the Niners have a way better offense, talent-wise, than the Eagles do.
They probably do, but at the same time, if the Eagles can get to the quarterback, can they make Brock Purdy make a couple mistakes? We've seen him not really play innate. I mean, we saw what Michael Parsons was able to really kind of do, and that was a really low-scoring game. I trust the Eagles' offense a lot more against the 49ers defense than the Cowboys' offense, I would say.
That's true.
Maybe this is me just picking on the 49ers for always being number one, which is weird because I've picked them to be the Super Bowl. I think they just had a bad
game last game, but they still pulled it out. So
they pulled it out the last 2 weeks pretty much. I mean, it was a blowout in the Seahawks game, but it wasn't always. That was kind of close until, late in the third. But here's a question for you. The over-under right now as it sits is 46.5.
Under.
I would agree with that. I think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game. For the most part, almost every single play.
This is like a 24-14 kind of game, 21-17 type of game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with something like that. And as we've seen, there's been a lot of low-scoring games in the playoffs this year. I think on the top of my head, I can only think of really maybe 2 or 3 that have even hit that 46 number, unless I'm just completely forgetting games, which more than likely I am. But with how good both of these defenses are, plus it's in Philly, there's might be some weather around, we'll see. If I were a betting man, which I kind of am, I would go with the under, but I'm going to go Eagles. I'm the only one picking Eagles because Cody's picking the 49ers. Once again, lone dog.
I'm picking the Niners, so yeah.
We'll see. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a battle of the trenches. We have
Brock Purdy for president.
He's not old enough, keep in mind. He's only a rookie. A rookie, Mr. Irrelevant.
I'm not going to lie. You got to hope for those guys like him to. It's the only way we get a shot at another Tom Brady type player right there.
But is he shown you enough to start next year, whether he wins or loses his game? I don't think they re-signed Jimmy G. I think it'll be between him and Trey Lance.
And they fight over it. That's the way you do it. I don't think you trade Trey Lance unless they have another quarterback they plan on drafting in the draft.
Or, say, a certain other very late drafted player wants to come home to play one final season, if you know what I'm saying. A certain number 12.
I don't think that's in their cards anymore.
Maybe not, but we'll figure that out here soon. I mean,
we don't even know if he's going to play.
That is true. I was literally about to say he might retire. We'll see. But let's move on to the game that everybody's probably talking about, not only because it's going to be a great game, but because we don't know how healthy a certain QB1's going to be. We have the Cincinnati Bengals going into Kansas City, currently favored at 1.5 points. Going into Kansas City to play the Chiefs.
I got to go Bengals by 3.
Bengals by 3.
Only because I was thinking about this watching the games. Okay, Mahomes is excellent. He's great. But when you watch him play, it's all of his actual talent. It's not because of his ego, confidence, none of that. Where Joe Burrow doesn't have the arm, doesn't even have the speed. I would say I think he's slow.
He showed that he can run though.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is the difference. What makes him great is his intangibles that are not just based off of just straight talent. You know what I mean? Not his arm strength. It's not his throwing from behind his back and whatever that Mahomes can do. I think part of it is Joe Burrow just knows he's good.
It's that Joe Cool. It's the,
Yeah.
it's the thing about quarterbacks named Joe. You know, they're not the most talented, but they can throw it. They'll throw it accurately. I mean,
I don't think he ever leaves Cincinnati. Ever.
Bearing anything from happening, I don't think so. I mean, he's already brought them 2 straight AFC championships, something that they haven't even won a playoff game in 25 years before he got there, and now he's won nothing but road playoff games pretty much. He was literally a play away pretty much from winning the Super Bowl last year. When you think of the Aaron Donald kind of on 4th down, he had a guy open, but he just didn't have enough time. But I mean, it's Aaron Donald.
Yep.
But Joe Burrow has brought something that the Bengals have never had. I mean, they've had Carson Palmer. They've had...
Yeah, but I think he's already, in my book, eclipsed Carson Palmer talent-wise. I'm not going to go into accomplishments. I'm just saying talent.
I maybe would go in accomplishments. I mean, he's...
Well, because Carson Palmer is easy to beat. That's why I didn't want to go down that route.
I mean, but the same thing. People are probably saying that about Carson Palmer. Like, he probably will never leave, and then he gets the contract situation. He gets hurt. Like, there's a lot of things that kind of derailed that train fast. And now this offseason, are they going to, give... He's going to be eligible. Not Carson Palmer, but Joe Burrow is going to be eligible for a new contract. Are they going to give him the world? Are they going to give him this fully guaranteed?
It won't be what we saw Lamar Jackson getting offered. It'll be less.
I mean, is it going to be a Patrick Mahomes similar type contract, but more guaranteed money?
I think it really depends on how much he wants to cripple his team.
I mean, it's always tough when you look at situations like that because, one, you want to get your money while you can. You're young. You want to set yourself up for life. You want to. This is generational type money, but at the same time too, it's like you do want to keep that team around. And when you look at a lot of the times, teams that win it all. Most of the time, it's quarterbacks who aren't on these hefty contracts. I mean, I know there's outliers and everything.
But I think you just got to look at it like, do you want to make a ton of money and then play for a crappy team eventually? Is that something you would enjoy? And I think most of these guys would say no.
Yeah, and it is a young team too.
Except Aaron Rodgers. I think he would be like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Oh well, Aaron Rodgers, as we have seen, is different from anything else we've probably ever seen in the NFL when it comes to quarterback. But
he's the most accurate passer of all time. So.
Yeah, well, not this season.
But, yeah, I think he's still career-wise he is, though.
Yeah, probably.
But, yeah, I think he's different than any of these young quarterbacks. He's just a different breed.
Oh, yeah, Joe Burrow has that, he got that dog in him. And they've given him, you can argue 3 wide receiver ones, a all-pro level running back, and they worked on the offensive line this year. It still isn't perfect.
Got him a tight end.
Yeah, Hayden Hurst. They lost C.J. Uzama, but they went and got Hayden Hurst, who is a reliable tight end in this league.
Anyways.
Yeah, maybe.
We're younger, so that helps them anyway. So
yeah, they're around the same age. But I'm gonna go Bengals too, actually. So is Cody. We're all picking the Bengals, and I think it comes down to 2 things. People forget the Chiefs were second in the NFL in sacks. Are they going to be able to get to Joe Burrow?
Well,
I don't know.
I can see it in the fact, just watching the last few games, and how they set up their 2 best pass rushers, Clark and
Chris Jones.
Yep, to get sacks.
Oh yeah, I like what they did against Jacksonville.
And Frank Clark only shows up in the playoffs, so.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's had okay years. I mean, they paid him a lot of money, though, to come there years ago. Yep. So, I mean, but he's playing good when it counts. Now, Chris Jones is just Chris Jones.
He is that X factor on that defense.
Yeah.
And,
he's a great player.
He's always been kind of that number 2 guy. When you talk about interior rushers, from, Aaron Donald, he has always been kind of the number 2 behind him.
He's not as flashy, that's all.
No, but at the same time,
Aaron Donald's hard to compare because he could play defensive end with his speed.
He could probably play corner, to be fair. Maybe not,
yeah.
but like
Linebacker.
he's an X factor to say the least, and they both are. And it's going to come down to, can they generate enough pressure? I don't think you can ever generate enough pressure on a guy like Joe Burrow, but to look at the other side, Patrick Mahomes, we saw he has a high ankle sprain. How bad is that going to be? Because as we saw in the game last week, he was relying for a good amount of that game on scrambling, getting guys, getting guys open, scrambling. Against, I would say, a better defense in Cincinnati.
I mean, I watch them and I still see them looking for the plays that Tyreek Hill would have gotten 30, 50 to a touchdown on, 30 to 50 yards or a touchdown. And these guys just aren't fast enough to do it.
Yeah,
Plays these short routes that Juju Smith-Schuster catches and gets 2 yards, that Tyreek Hill would have cut back. And, there's things like that I think people forget, and I think the Chiefs even forget when they run these plays.
And I think they still have guys that can make plays. I mean, Kadarius Toney, I think, can still, make some plays.
They just don't have a wide receiver one anymore. That's all.
I mean, Travis Kelce is tight end 1, wide receiver 1. Put him at running back. He's QB 2.
I know, but Juju Smith, at his age now, is he a 1? I don't know. MVS is not a 1. And I would say Toney is not a 1 either. They're all good 2s.
I would agree with that. And when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, I think that's enough. And especially with his pocket ability and allowing, them more time, can make a throw anywhere on the field. Like, he allows them the time to either takes to get open or to make a play. And that's all you really want. And with that high ankle sprain, how is it going to be? We don't know how limited he's going to be. They say it's not that bad, but I mean, you're not going to say.
I thought it was going to be worse than it was, to be honest.
It seemed like it.
When I saw his leg bend like that, and then I saw him wince and then hobble around, I was like, oh.
It seemed worse, definitely. But here's the thing: the high currently of Sunday in Kansas City is 23 degrees,
which is no good for an ankle like that.
No potential precipitation as of right now. No, it's not going to be super windy. It's going to be a little windy, but it's going to be a packed crowd still. I mean, Bengals aren't. It's not like the Bengals have, they play in the cold too, so it's not going to be an advantageous type thing. But I mean, they don't even have an indoor practice facility still.
I think it actually hurts the Chiefs more. I think because when you have like an ankle like that, the colder you get, the stiffer you get.
You could see this being a game, too, where they rely a little bit more on the run game. Can they get Pacheco going, who's played really nice as of late? Jerick McKinnon. I mean, Kadarius Toney can be a guy where they kind of run some short things with him, kind of out of the backfield. We know how creative the Chiefs can be with their system. I would not be worried about the play calling whatsoever. I think it comes number one down to health.
Andy Reid made it to the Hall of Fame years ago. In my opinion.
Even when he was fired from Philly, he was going into the Hall of Fame, and he took this job.
Yep.
And he's been there for, 11 years now? 10 years.
It doesn't feel like that long, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Suppose Alex Smith and Mahomes, so there you go.
Yeah. But it's tough. I'm going to go Bengals, too. I think just overall, with the health considerations, not to mention the Bengals have had the Chiefs' number over the last pretty much 2 seasons when they've played against each other. I mean, they were in this pretty much same situation a year ago, AFC Championship. I just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, gotta go Bengals. We're all going Bengals.
It's not broke yet, but yeah.
It's not broke yet, and eventually it will, and then you're going to have to, who's going to win it this time? But I think these are going to be very fun games. Here's the thing for you. This game is also 46.5 on the over/under. Knowing now what the weather's going to be like, I'm thinking over too. I mean, we didn't get to see a full. I
mean, there's both teams. Secondaries have been gouged a lot, and both teams have been known to give up a lot of points this season. That's the way I see it, and I hate to blame
But
not
I
their
mean,
pass
they're
rush,
not
but I
bad
blame their
defenses either.
No. They're not. I'm just basing on what I've seen and watched. I think they've just been getting gouged a lot secondary wise.
Keep in mind too, this game. Look at this game last year. It was 27-24 in overtime. I think this is a game that's going to go exactly like that last year. This is going to be a close game throughout the entire game. One of these teams is going to go on a potential either game-winning or game-tying drive. We're probably going to see it down to the wire, and I think we're going to see whoever has that ball. Obviously, whoever has that ball last is going to win, but it's going to be Joe Burrow going on a game-winning drive to win this game. I didn't give a score to the last one, but I'm giving a score here. I'm going 30-28.
That's a good score.
I agree. I didn't do another one.
It's good enough where I'm not going to pick my own score because it would be too close to where you're at. So that's a pretty good.
That's fine.
Good gauge.
I didn't do one for the last game, but I'm gonna give one real quick. I'm gonna do 21-17. I'm pretty sure that's one of the ones you said it's gonna be, but I feel like that's a pretty good one.
That was, I think, what I said last game. But yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot lower scoring game compared to this one when you look at kind of just how these teams are, and we could be completely wrong. These these scores could be flipped.
I mean, if I go unbiased and just based on what I think I want to see in the Super Bowl for like an actual good game, it would be Chiefs Niners. In my opinion. Yeah, but if I go off feelings, it would actually be Bengals Niners. For me, but it's one of those where I think we have gotten the four best teams, and
I definitely agree with that. I think we
got the first time in a few years
that these are the best four teams.
The four best teams, yeah.
For a while you could argue, the Packers should have been.
I never thought Buffalo. I mean, I knew their record was. They choke a lot.
Not to mention, just as of late, they just didn't, or not even late, like the last couple of weeks, even in the regular season, they just didn't seem like that alpha team. Bengals, I mean, they are one of the hottest teams.
I'm not sure Josh Allen, well, he's the guy there. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not sure he is the guy.
There's going to have to be a lot of questions this offseason with the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, when you lose a playoff game at home by 3 scores.
I think you have to. I think you have to set a tone for one by removing Stephon Diggs from the team permanently.
I don't know.
They won't. They're not gonna, but they need to.
There's questions on that team.
I'm gonna use this in PC words. He's a big baby. He did this exact same thing in Minnesota when they kept making it into the playoffs and losing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully,
it's not like he's a 6'5" receiver that saves the day. He's expendable in my book.
Yeah, well, he's still one of the better receivers in the NFL.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you might as well get something while you can.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe they'll turn it into Justin Jefferson like the Vikings did. Even though I wouldn't say there's another Justin Jefferson to be able to get.
You wouldn't have said there was another Stephon Diggs on Minnesota, so.
Yeah, well, it's also different because they had Adam Thielen, who was still at the time a good wide receiver. I mean, he's still something in the NFL. Who knows if he'll be back? Speaking of things with the Vikings, there's a lot of question marks to go into.
Kirk Cousins, yeah, lots of questions there.
There's a lot of questions throughout every single NFL team, and once the Super Bowl's over, we'll go through, if not all the teams. So keep an eye out on that. But for right now, I'm ready for the Super Bowl. These playoff games, I need some spice in my life. The playoff games haven't been super hypey, but they've been good. I need more. Can't wait.
Yeah, you just want to see the commercials, don't lie.
Yeah, more than that. Hey, Rihanna's the halftime show this year. That'll be fun.
That's a fail compared to last year's. Come on.
Is it, though?
I guess I'm older, so yes.
Exactly. You're older. You like those old people doing it. But hey, we'll see how the halftime show is in a couple of weeks. That's what we got for you today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit hit all the buttons, as I always say. Just do good things. Have a fun weekend. Eat your Wheaties. Hug a loved one. Just do it all. Be positive. Have fun. That's all I can say. Have a good one, everyone.
Later.
Thanks for listening to Audible Sportscast, your home for all things sports.